Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to talk about something that sounds, well, totally unsexy: scheduling intimacy. But what if I told you that putting it on the calendar could actually be the secret to a way better sex life?
Okay, let's just start with a scene that I'm sure is going to feel very familiar to a lot of you, especially if you're a busy couple or a parent. You're just completely wiped out, and you're caught between wanting to connect with your partner and just desperately wanting to sleep for like 8 solid hours.
And right there, in that moment, there's often this little dose of guilt, isn't there? That's because we've all been sold this big idea. You know, the one from the movies. That amazing intimacy is supposed to just happen. Poof, like magic, spontaneously.
So let's actually tackle that idea head on. We're going to break down what's called the spontaneity myth. This belief that if you actually have to plan for intimacy, something must be seriously wrong with your relationship.
This right here, this is the core of it. The idea that it should all be effortless. But what if that's not just totally unrealistic, but what if it's actually making things worse? Well, new research from the Sexual Health and Relationships Lab at York University suggests this very myth might be what's holding us back.
So how in the world do you even test a cultural myth? Well, these researchers came up with a really clever experiment. They wanted to see what would happen if couples, and specifically parents with young kids, who are probably some of the busiest people on the planet, did the one thing you're not supposed to do: actually plan it.
So here's how they set it up. This study, which was published in the Journal of Sex Research, split parents into 2 groups. One group, about 310 parents, was encouraged to see planning as a good thing and to try scheduling intimacy for 2 weeks. The other group, the control group, was basically just told, hey, carry on as usual.
So after those 2 weeks, the researchers crunched the numbers, and the results? Well, they were pretty eye-opening, and they basically flew in the face of everything that spontaneity myth tells us to believe.
All right, let's start with the big number. The couples who planned things out had almost 30% more sex than the couples who didn't. I mean, think about that. In just 2 weeks, that's a really significant difference.
But here's where it gets really fascinating. It wasn't just about frequency. The planning group also said they felt more desire. This completely flips the whole myth on its head, right? Instead of killing the mood, planning actually seemed to be fueling it.
And this is where you can see this amazing psychological shift. Instead of feeling more pressured, these couples actually reported feeling less obligated, just by changing the way they thought about it. Something that could have felt like a chore turned into a positive thing they were doing together.
Okay, so the big question is, why does this work? I mean, if planning goes against everything we've been taught, why is it so powerful? Turns out the answer is all about some pretty cool psychology. Reason number 1, anticipation. Yeah, anticipation is sexy. When you know you have that time set aside for each other later, it gives desire a chance to build all day long. You know, those little flirty texts, those playful thoughts, they suddenly become part of the whole experience. It's kind of like digital foreplay.
And let's move on to the second reason: preparation. For any tired parent out there, this is absolutely huge. Having time to mentally switch gears, maybe hop in the shower, and just get yourself ready to connect, it lets you be way more relaxed and present instead of feeling, ambushed by the moment.
And finally, there's the incredible power of just being intentional. The simple act of carving out time in your insane schedule for your partner, that sends one of the most powerful messages in any relationship. It says, you matter. Our connection is a priority to me. And honestly, that right there is just incredibly attractive. Okay, so the science is definitely there, but how do you actually do this? How do you bring up, hey, let's schedule sex, without it sounding like you're booking a root canal? Well, the research actually offers a really simple toolkit. First, talk about it like you're on the same team. It's a shared goal, not another job to do. Second, use that anticipation we were just talking about. Send a fun text during the day. Third, set the scene, whatever that means for you too. And maybe the most important step, be flexible. If you're both just exhausted, reschedule. With kindness. This isn't about hitting a deadline, it's about connection.
So what's the big idea we should all take away from this? It's really about a huge shift in how we think about our relationships. It's about changing our whole definition of what effort means.
This research really just backs up what so many sex therapists have been saying for years. In our chaotic lives, sure, spontaneous passion is an amazing gift when it happens. But it's that intentional effort that truly keeps intimacy alive over the long haul.
So, at the end of the day, these findings are really a challenge to all of us. They challenge us to stop just passively waiting around for some perfect, spontaneous moment that, let's be honest, our busy lives might never actually serve up. Instead, they suggest that maybe the most romantic thing you can do is decide, together, to create that moment on purpose.